Hello, my name is Calvin, and this video is meant to give context for those that have never come across my content, and also to give an update for those who have been following me for a very long time, essentially. Let's see here. Okay, so if you have just watched the only video that is, or the only other video that is in the channel right now, which is the Power and Shame and Identity video essay, the opening and ending of that video is gonna have very little context, and it's gonna feel very abrupt, like I started from nowhere and then I ended it at nowhere, because it is meant to be tied to a larger piece of work that I'm working on, which is a sort of a story analysis for the Highland Zodiac arc in the MMO Final Fantasy XIV Online, and sort of to basically to illustrate it, that about that hour and 40 minutes is basically a part of the Stormblood section, which you can see here. The percentages are just like rough estimates, so to speak, but it's basically to give you an idea of the sort of the amount of work there is not to sort of project this like it's like, oh my god, it's so massive. It's more so just to speak of what I'm working on, like what's left to be done, so to speak, and basically setting goals and scheduling out what else that needs to be done specifically. So for context, that section, you see the section on power, shame, and identity, is meant to give context to one of the primary antagonists to a villain in Final Fantasy XIV, which is, of course, Xenos Galvus. And that is to sort of set a foundational knowledge of where this trope came from, what it was inspired by, and stuff like that. So when I say the power trope, I'm not just sort of like referencing nothing, and then we don't have a foundation to talk about this character in the more niche and nuanced context, as opposed to sort of just giving him like a reductionistic broad strokes look at Xenosia Galvus without sort of giving him a fair shake. So that's what the power and shame section is supposed to be, and sort of the reason this section specifically is released as a video is because it's this very neat little nuanced section that can exist without the need of sort of understanding the broader context of Final Fantasy XIV itself. So that's what the video essay is meant to be. So when we enter that video essay, we already have the context that we're talking about Xenosia Galvus, and of course at the end of the video essay, we will actually begin talking about the character itself. And sort of as an aside, most of the context, you probably noticed in the essay that I sort of just say some sort of philosophical or psychological text, or list some facts, and this is because it comes from existential and Buddhist philosophies, and both of these specifically have a very constructivist view of reality, as opposed to the essentialist style sort of ontological and metaphysical look at reality, where the essentialist essentially treats things as things. They don't really think of it as a construct of the human mind. So the sort of the facts and the ideas that are in the essays are largely inspired by Albert Camus' The Rebel, and that book only really makes sense if you read The Myth of Sisyphus and sort of a basic understanding of the will to power. And the reason why I say basic is because there's a lot of interpretation of what Nietzsche said in that book. Yeah, so that's basically it about that video specifically. And sort of as for the other part, which is for the people that have been watching and following for a very long time, is that you probably, like, I've been on this journey for almost you could say, like, basically 2 years now, ever since I stopped streaming video games for the sake of streaming video games. Because like, wow, this guy has been like doing this for like 2 years, and then he has basically released nothing of like what he's made so far. It's like I'm just like, oh, we're on 500 day 540. He's like, what the heck is this guy doing? This guy's not releasing anything. This guy's like not doing anything. Just all day he's just studying and writing. And so basically that's also the other part of the video essay. Why I've released the video essay, so is to sort of give you an idea of what the a taste of what the overall work will what part of it will feel like, so to speak. What was the other thing? Okay, oh yeah, I remember now. Because right now I'm sort of because when I started this, I had no idea it was going to end up like this. To put it bluntly, it wasn't almost until I was a 1 year into the project that I realized what I needed to do. So that initial part of that first year, after studying everything, like getting sort of the basic facts of setting a foundation of what I wanted to do, is like I realized like, oh, okay, I can't just do like a sort of a casual analysis, so to speak. And it sort of, the reason I say that is because most of the videos on Twitch that has to do with reviews or sort of analyzing video game stories comes from this place of this very like immediate, immediate, authentic. It's just off the top of my head type of style of analysis. Like, okay, I just finished playing the game. Okay, let's talk about it. And we sort of just broadly covered the surface level of the games, and we just don't really dig really deep into it. And sort of the more I studied, just not in terms of things like video making and like what was allowed, like things like content ID and stuff like that, and sort of studying philosophy, studying psychology, leveling up things in terms of understanding psychotherapy concepts, understanding psychoanalysis, stuff like that. It sort of come to this foundation. It's like, okay, after 1 year in, it's like, okay, this is what I actually need to do. So 1 year in, it's not that I scrapped all my work, but they needed to be reworked into something that works for the overall analysis of the Highland Zodiac in Final Fantasy XIV, so to speak. So so far, like this is basically the writing work that I have been doing. So right now I'm I don't know if I said this already. We're up to about 150,000 words. Is that right? 150,000 words, right? Yeah. And I'm not sure we'll end up probably like 200,000 or 250,000 words, because like this is what I mean. Like when I started out to make this project, I had no idea that was where we're gonna go, but that's where we ended up, so to speak. And sort of this is just for like the people that have been following me for a long time. The Shadowbringer section is actually when the work when I sort of started to solidify what I wanted to do. So the Shadowbringers we work will probably just be a lot of restructuring of what the sentiments are, and probably 1 or 2 small video essays that will be released in that section as well, because there's 1 or 2 sections that can release as a standalone without the context of or what I'm talking about in Final Fantasy XIV specifically. And then sort of there's this like, because the reason why this is such a sort of quote-unquote black hole is because I'm not sure how this will go, because this is the section that I most want to make. And of course, like, there's a lot of expectation going into this, and of course it's not I want to meet those expectations. It's sort of just, okay, I'm gonna do the thing and I'm just gonna see what's gonna come out of it, because this is the real reason why I'm making the analysis for Final Fantasy XIV, that a giant story arc overall. And is there anything else? And yeah, that's it.